What is going on, everybody? It is Tyler, and today we're playing quarterback matchmaker, and essentially what that means is I'm going to take each of the top 4 quarterbacks in the 2023 NFL Draft, that being Bryce Young, Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis, tell you what I think of them as prospects, and match them up to teams that I think would best fit their unique skill sets, and all 4 of them are very unique. Each have their own flaws and their own strengths, so I'm going to walk you through which teams I think are the best fit for these 4. Up first, we have the quarterback that many are regarding as QB1 in this class. I have him as QB2, that being Bryce Young of Alabama. Obviously, the height concern is real. He might come in at under 5'9 or 5'10, which would be the shortest quarterback in the NFL by far. You look at Kyler Murray, and Bryce Young could even be an inch or two shorter than him. So, we're looking at Bryce, and what do we see from a strengths perspective? We see his ability to work off script, his accuracy, his ability to keep his eyes downfield when the pocket is at its murkiest. But he does have those weaknesses. Like I said, his height, his weight, those are going to be a problem. We do not know if he'll be able to stay healthy at the next level, and those translate to a lot of his other problems. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't get the ball the farthest down the field. His deep ball is not spectacular. He's shown flashes, but it's not consistent in the way that you would hope for it to be. Also, we really aren't sure how great he's going to be able to throw over the middle of the field. He had trouble doing that in college, but I think that the team that we look to get Bryce on should be one that helps him throw over the middle of the field. And I actually wrote an article about this if you guys want to go check it out. But there is one team specifically and one system specifically that uses their quarterbacks in a different way. They roll them out to sides of the field, they get them to the hashes, and they move their offensive linemen away from the pocket, thus making it a clear throwing lane over the middle and to the opposite side of the field. I think that Bryce has a good enough arm to make those far hash throws, and I think that that makes him a best fit in a 49ers system. And you know what that means? He is going to Houston. They just picked up DeMeco Ryans, San Francisco's defensive coordinator, and they brought along Bobby Slowick, who is their offensive pass game coordinator and will now be Houston's offensive coordinator. He comes from the Shanahan system and can do a lot of the pocket manipulation that Bryce Young would be perfect with. I think that that's the best fit. So with the number 2 overall pick, I think that Bryce Young and the Houston Texans would be an awesome combination. Now let's take a look at Ohio State's C.J. Stroud, largely regarded as the QB2 in this draft class. He is a pocket passer through and through, not somebody who's going to extend plays or make plays on the ground. He wasn't really asked to do so at Ohio State, but it also isn't his game. He's going to pick you apart mentally. He has the best top-end accuracy of anyone in this class. He gets through his progressions really nicely and is certainly going to go in the first round. And I think that he would be a perfect fit with Frank Reich in Carolina. We know what they like to do under Frank Reich. We know what he did in Indianapolis. He really likes those pocket passers. And you know what he did in Indianapolis and where he had his most success? That was with Phillip Rivers, who made the playoffs with them and was a pocket passer, picking guys apart with his mind, picking defenses apart. And I think that that could be a perfect fit for C.J. Stroud. We're seeing all of the different quarterback coaches. Josh McCown is now headed to Carolina. They are working on getting themselves a quarterback. And Josh McCown himself stated on Underdog Fantasy's YouTube channel, make sure to check it out, that he very much liked C.J. Stroud's game and thought that he was one of the more accurate quarterbacks in this class. And we know what Frank Reich likes. Like I said, he likes the pocket passers. So being able to get him another one, somebody who's going to sit back, dissect the defense, they can go worry about everything else. Get somebody who is probably a very high floor to go along with that defense that features guys like Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, and now J.C. Horn, who has come onto the scene and become one of the best corners in the entire NFL. I think that they could potentially make a run at the playoffs next season if they go bring in a guy like Stroud. Their division is weak. I can imagine them going for a higher floor guy, and Stroud might have the highest floor in this class. That's who I'm going with for Carolina. Up next, we are going to look at the Indianapolis Colts. They just hired Shane Steichen, who is the offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we know how far that team went. They were just in the Super Bowl and dropped 35 points. We know that they're a very good, very strong offense, and we can imagine that that's what Steichen is going to try to bring to Indianapolis. And that offense was led largely by Jalen Hurts. And what quarterback could be similar to Jalen Hurts in this draft class? hear me out, it could be Anthony Richardson. Both were very raw as passers coming out, but had strong running games, including Anthony Richardson, who I think is an even more profound runner than Jalen Hurts is. He's not as strong, don't get me wrong. Jalen Hurts was squatting like 600 pounds in college. Anthony Richardson is not going to be doing that. But he's about 6'4", 230. He's a big body. He can run through people, and he can also run around you. He's the fastest quarterback in this class and would automatically be one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL. And he has an absolute cannon. I know he's raw, but he is my quarterback one because of his potential. The arm is insane. The pocket presence is better than just about anybody in this class, not to mention that 6'4", 230 size that I already brought up. He just has a ceiling that no other quarterback in this draft class has, and being able to bring him to Indy where he can do a power running game with Shane Steichen, who already would have Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson, guys who could help him out and make it easier for him to run the ball, and also with the threat of the run, throw over the middle. They're going to look to entirely revamp their offense, and I think with the 4th overall pick, it would be really interesting to see Anthony Richardson in an Indianapolis Colts uniform. And for the last of the top 4 quarterbacks, we have Kentucky quarterback Will Levis. And just like Anthony Richardson, he is certainly an interesting case. He's hyper athletic, has a really strong arm, but it's with his mechanics, just like Richardson, and with his accuracy and the mental game where you see that he struggles. We really don't know how good he is mentally, considering his offense was one of a lower level when it came to making reads. He was not making full field reads like you see some of these quarterbacks doing, but we did get to see some of that arm talent, some of that mobility. The accuracy isn't always there. Like I said, his mechanics are going to need some work, and he simply doesn't make great decisions in the pocket a lot of the time. His pocket presence is not amazing. It's not where you'd probably want it to be for him to be a franchise quarterback, but those are things that you can work on. And where do I think he could work on that? I am picking Will Levis to end up in Las Vegas with the Raiders. And hear me out on this one. I know it's kind of weird. Some people are going to think, yeah, that's not a great fit. But I think they could be trending in a direction where they realize in a stacked AFC West that they aren't competing right now. So going out and getting a high-flourish guy like Stroud, who you're trying to get to lead your offense right away, might not work. In this situation, you've got a strong-armed guy. You just moved on from another strong-armed guy in Derek Carr. But I think that the ceiling on Levis is even higher. He's really mobile, supposedly very smart. He's going to light up the combine. And I can fully expect somebody like him to sit down behind a guy like Jarrett Stidham, who it seems that they really like. Let Stidham play out some of the season, maybe the whole season, see how it works out. And eventually, if, that doesn't work and you start losing games, you put in Levis and you see what he's got. I think that they're probably going to lose a couple offensive pieces this offseason. They might have to move on from guys like Darren Waller or Josh Jacobs. They're not going to have the same roster that they had last year, and they might be willing to take this year as a gap year before they go out and compete. So I think that the best fit for Will Levis would be bringing him to Las Vegas and having him join Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. And here it is. I hope you guys liked that video. Obviously, it is very early on in the offseason. Most of these teams with new coaches just hired them. We don't even know what their staffs look like, much less free agency or any trades that they make. But those are just some places that I think that some of these quarterbacks could go and succeed. So if you want to see more of this content, I'm currently working on scouting. So if you want to see more of that kind of stuff, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.